This here is an actual real life, real world Superbone, one of the original ones made by Holton as opposed to that sort of rubbishy knockoff that I made a little while ago. This has been kindly loaned to me by a viewer and Patreon supporter, so thank you very, very much for lending this to me. So the Superbone, a little bit of history about this instrument. It was developed in the 1970s in collaboration with Maynard Ferguson and Larry Ramirez, who worked for Holton. But this is not the first type of instrument that's tried to combine a slide with a valve section. The very famous American company, and reportedly Getson, both made trombones with this type of arrangement in the past, and Shargel has made one since. Interestingly though, it appears that the person who's sort of had the vision that these various manufacturers have executed on have all been jazz musicians. This isn't obviously a classical instrument, but yeah, it seems to have all been jazz musicians that have had the vision behind these. Now, Superbones all have had some limitations in their execution. The Con model didn't have a slide lock, so you had to always hold the slide in place because it would just fall off. This Superbone does have a slide lock, but the mouthpiece receiver here is a lot longer than what you'd be used to coming from a normal tenor trombone. So consequently, all of the slide positions are a little bit further than what you would expect. So if you are a person that plays using muscle memory, all of the muscle positions, all of the positions that you're familiar with, they all need to be extended a little bit further to get the instrument play in tune. The Superbone that I made in a previous video, which now adorns my wall of many things, was a hideously uncomfortable instrument to hold. And the Con Superbone as well, or whatever they called that thing, judging purely on the photos, that looks like it would have been pretty uncomfortable too. Now this here is an order of magnitude better than my homemade Superbone, but it would be absolutely erroneous to call this a comfortable instrument. It is still not comfortable to hold. All of the Superbones that they've made in the past appear to have used piston valves, so valves that act like standard trumpet valves that we have here. However, Shargel, when they made their Superbone, they've used rotary valves. Now, I don't know how comfortable that would be to play, because instead of having the valves aligned like this, you actually have to rotate your hand around all the way, and you're pressing keys that actuate this way. So I don't know how comfortable that would be to hold. Apparently the weight balance is quite good. But I don't know. Yeah, I'd love to play that one day. If anyone from Shargel's watching, you can send me one. So all of these instruments, they seem to me to be a bit of a gimmick. They seem to have been something that's been created for a specific purpose, a person that wanted sort of the best of both worlds, a slide and the valves and all the rest of it. And so they've never really found a huge place in mainstream music. However, if we embrace the level of ridiculous a minute and even escalate it one more notch, we have this. This is an attempt by Holton at a rotary valve bass Superbone. Now this is just a single photo, and I understand that this instrument never made it through to completion. But yeah, it looks quite interesting. Something else that seems to have been an interesting sort of concept was this gorgeous creation by Andre Henze of Germany, which appears to have had a carbon fiber bell to help reduce the weight implications of it. So there's a lot of innovation that's still happening in this world, but again, I don't know if it's got much of a future in mainstream music. I'm going to do an episode of On the Bench to sort of give you a bit of a close-up of this, so watch for that in the near future. But in the meantime, let's see what we can do with this. If you're interested in hearing what one of these type of instruments can really sound like, then I encourage you to look for James Morrison's Superbone review of the Shargel Superbone. He can really make that sort of thing sing. Me, on the other hand, I'm very much a bumbling enthusiast, so I can't do anything particularly fancy, but the valves operate like you would expect the valves to do. The slide operates like you would expect a slide to do once you've gotten over the sort of the difference in the hand position type things. And it just gives you the flexibility to do both at once.